here and we welcome it for all the beauty it offers. And I know there's mixed feelings. Some of us are kind of sad to see the summer go by, but each season is just so beautiful in itself. And the thing that's wonderful about autumn, I mean, who doesn't love the fall colors? And for those of you who are joining us on the live stream, I'm Reverend Carmela, and it's my great privilege to be the minister and spiritual leader of this community. So welcome. We're continuing our series on the 7 paths to God, the way of the mystic. So far, we've looked at path 1, which is earth and home, path 2, which is creativity, abundance, and the generosity of spirit. And today we're moving to path 3, which is the passion to serve. Now, one of the purposes of this series is to look at the different paths and see if you resonate with any of them. We're by all means not expected to resonate with all of them, but just look at it with an open mind and see if it relates to you or see if you can relate to it. Now, we're all familiar with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. God and humanity were the center of his mission to lead a movement to recognize the equality of all people, regardless of race. In his 1963 speech, filled with emotion, he said, "I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal." Now, we know by the term men, he refers to all people, regardless of race, creed, color, gender, or orientation. He always placed God first, placed love first. And when speaking to a crowd of people who were ready to break out in violence, he told them, "Let us not seek to satisfy our thirst for freedom by drinking from the cup of bitterness and hatred. Again and again, we must rise to the majestic heights of meeting physical force with soul force." I love that term, soul force. When ideas are made stronger by passionate emotion, they become very, very powerful. And Dr. King led with powerful passion through nonviolent protest, always keeping centered in God. So the question for the path 3 mystic is, who do I serve, myself or God? Dr. King was interested in serving God through freeing his people, as was another great mystic and social activist, Mahatma Gandhi. Both embraced the tactics of nonviolence, guided by the power of peace and understanding. We've all seen powerful speakers, whether they're politicians or salespeople or human potential movement people. They capture our attention. But too often, their primary interest is in serving themselves by getting fame, fortune, power, or prestige. When this power is used selfishly, it can lead to corruption, violence, and the manipulation of others. Think of dictators who serve their own interests and serve the interests of the rich at the expense of the poor. And one who was so extreme that he tried to wipe out an entire population. I don't even have to mention his name because you know who I'm talking about. This is the power used for their own personal advancement. Without the desire to serve God, charismatic people can easily be led by pure ego and exhibit the dark side of the personality with inhumane acts. When Jesus was asked about his healing power, he said that he of himself did nothing. Rather, it was the Father who worked through him. Those of you who do any type of healing work know that the healing comes from the source, that we of ourselves do nothing. We become channels for the divine, and that power is limitless. And it's truly the humble that know this. Now, humility is defined as the absence of pride, and pride is defined as over high opinion of oneself or conceit. A prideful person is the center of their own universe. and they rely on personal power, which is always limited. Jesus and all the great healers and mystics know that they are a channel for that power, not the source of that power. This attitude of humility keeps them aligned with that power that flows through them, the source of all things. I saw a meme on Facebook that fits perfectly, and it says, people who shine from within don't need the spotlight. What a simple statement, but so profound. You know, we spoke about the power of service shown through Dr. Martin Luther King, Mahatma Gandhi, and also Mother Teresa is a perfect example. And these are just a few people. Each of them lived with purpose and humility, with a passion for serving. But service comes in so many forms. We have no idea what a kind smile or opening a door for someone or what a kind word can do for another. We are in service just by living our lives in conscious awareness of who we really are and what our purpose is. We are all interconnected, and help bring one another into the expression or full potential through words, thoughts, and deeds that are simple yet complex. We have no idea what effect we have on someone. The person you smiled at the grocery store who felt alone and unloved was uplifted by your small, kind gesture of offering a smile. Many people are dedicated to a life of service, but for Gandhi, for King, for Mother Teresa, service was an all-consuming passion. They are perfect examples of the Path 3 mystic. For them, the passion to serve extended throughout a lifetime. As long as we're passionate about our dream, we will have the energy to bring it into manifestation. This is what the late mythologist Joseph Campbell meant when he said, follow your bliss. When we're following our bliss, that energy is always there. That support is always there. But you don't have to be a Path 3 mystic to dedicate your life to service. All spiritual paths embody service. But for the Path 3, the need to serve is an all-consuming passion. The Path 3 mystic has such a passion that it occupies not only their daytime work, but their nighttime dreams. They live and breathe this passion as a form of dedication to God and humanity. They lead with humility, and they leave a lasting impression on all those they touch. Now, most Path 3 mystics are not famous. You see them working for organizations like Greenpeace, Doctors Without Borders, the American Red Cross, City Harvest, Habitat for Humanity, any organization that's dedicated to helping others. And as I said, you don't have to be a Path 3 mystic to do good in the world or make a difference in the world. If you truly know who you are and function from that level of your divinity, you will automatically shed your light and have an impact, regardless of how large or small it may be. We all contribute to the world in our own way. The purpose of this series is to help each of us identify with that mystical path that we resonate with. We're all mystics. We all have the desire to have that experience of the divine. Each path leads to the desired result of serving humanity through the elevated consciousness and awareness that separation is non-existent, regardless of what it may feel like while we're here in physical form. Last week, we spoke about being the practical mystic, about bridging the spiritual and the physical. This is an opportunity to recognize that if we resonate with the Path 3, we have our purpose. You know, I've dedicated my life to service, but I do honor my free time and I have other interests. So although I resonate with a Path 3, I'm not fully consumed by it. And that's okay. The important thing is to honor ourselves and honor our path and know that we are aligned with spirit in all that we do. Like all of the 7 paths, there are 7 suggestions for each path. And although these suggestions are for path 3, they're great suggestions for all of us. You'll notice as we move through this series, some of these suggestions repeat or similar to those of other paths. That's because these are all universal suggestions for moving out of our ego and functioning from our divine self. So this first suggestion is beware of power. It's been said that power has the ability to corrupt. And it's easy to lose one's humility and fall into the belief that we are the source of the important work that we're doing. When this happens, the power flowing through us slows because we're forgetting that it's the source of all things flowing through us that does the work. As I said earlier, anyone who has studied healing modalities know that we are channels for the healing that moves through us. All we need to do is have an open mind and a desire to be helpful. Power or dominion is one of the 12 powers. But with all the 12 powers, we can utilize them with our Christ consciousness or with our ego consciousness. Knowing what consciousness we're operating from is crucial, regardless of what path we follow. The second is beware of charisma. Years ago, someone told me that I was very charismatic. They meant it as a compliment, but to me, it was a warning because people are naturally attracted to charismatic or gifted people. But if the charismatic person thinks it's about them and forget that what people are attracted to is God shining through them, then they may end up doing more harm than good. So I've been very conscious since that time to keep myself grounded in knowing that I'm nothing without God. I am nothing without spirit moving through me. We've all witnessed some religious leaders and politicians luring people in with their charisma and functioning purely by their ego. This is where humility comes in again, knowing that God is expressing through us, as us. And as it says in John 14, it is not I, but the Father that dwells within that does the work. The third is to seek conscious communion with God, conscious contact with God. It's so important to have a prayer and meditation practice because that opens us up to divine guidance and nurtures our awareness of the divinity within. We're all aware of the importance of spending time in silence, where our focus is on being present with God. When we're prayed up, as Unity calls it, it supports us in our day-to-day activities. And with continued practice, we can be aware at any time, regardless of what's going on, aware of that presence within, aware of the presence of God within and all around us. So remember to be prayed up, practice, meditate, pray every day. Every moment can be a prayer. Every moment can be a meditation. It depends on whether we're siding with our ego or siding with our spirit. The fourth is to take time for yourself. You know, we've all heard the saying, who heals the healer? Or who ministers to the minister? People with passion and charisma who live their lives in service are generally busy and in demand all the time. But as I always say, you can't pour from an empty vessel. We need to take time to rest, renew, and recharge. And sometimes the best ideas come in when we are taking time to just be. So know that you can't help others if you don't help yourself. Take care of yourself, and that energy will be there to extend to others. The fifth is to nurture your relationships. So that's to spend time with family and friends. Relationships are sacred, for in them we come to know ourselves more deeply. We know how we function in a relationship if we pay attention. Relationships require time and attention, and all learning is done through relationship. Relationship to ourselves, to our others, to things. If someone is constantly pushing our buttons, that's not about them, that's about us. We need to pay attention to what's going on within us that person is triggering. Friends and loved ones provide support and are best able to give us feedback if we keep going off track or if we're not taking care of ourselves. So we need to nurture those relationships with others and relationships with ourselves. They are the main path to learning. The sixth is to cultivate a sense of humor. One of the occupational hazards of living your passion is becoming so serious that you block the flow of energy. Taking yourself too seriously is a sign of pride. And besides, who wants to hang out with a workaholic? We know that laughter is the best medicine. So remember to laugh, especially at yourself. I remember, oh God, it probably close to 8 to 10 years now. There was a summer where I had a series of things happening. It was just one catastrophic thing after another, after another, after another, where I got to the point that it was so ridiculous, all I could do was laugh. So I laughed. I didn't downplay the seriousness of all that was going on, but I had to laugh at the absurdity of the things that we create within the world of form. By changing my attitude and laughing, it really changed the energy so that I was more able to deal with all that stuff that was going on. There's a reason they say laughter is the best medicine. So remember to laugh at ridiculous circumstances and especially at yourself. The seventh is to cultivate patience. You know the saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. So for whatever you're doing, whatever goals you set, whatever cause you're working for, remember to be patient. Inventors often work years before finally bringing their idea and dreams into fruition. If they didn't remain patient, they wouldn't have had or made that discovery or invention. Even dreams and ideas that are fully formed may take time to get into circulation. So have faith. Keep your focus with the knowledge that God is expressing through you, as you, and the very act of your service is the most important outcome. Perhaps the hardest lesson to learn is to not be attached to the results of our actions, to not go forth with a preset desire to turn out a certain way. When we let go of the results and just live by our passion in doing service, whatever the results are will be the perfect results. And, I always say you cannot receive with clenched fists. When we open up, when we let go of the desired outcome, we open ourselves to the energy of things coming to us more freely and easily. So again, these are suggestions for following path 3, the passion to serve. But keeping our ego in check, engaging in conscious contact with God, taking time for ourselves, nurturing our relationships, remembering to laugh, and cultivating patience is good advice for any spiritual seeker. And we're all spiritual seekers. We wouldn't be here if we weren't. So, As we move into our meditation, I'm going to show a video, it's a prayer video. It's for September from Unity Worldwide, from Silent Unity. So I'm going to ask you at this time to just allow yourselves to either close your eyes and listen to the words, or if you can, move into meditation by watching. Allow yourselves to just be in the moment with this meditation, and allow yourselves to just be. So I'm going to start sharing my screen. Just allow yourselves to move into that place of peace within you as we enjoy this meditation.
We become present, focused, and intentional as we begin this time of prayer. We are present in the kingdom of divine ideas, focused on the goodness of God, our source. We intend to be immersed in and aligned with all that God is in a consciousness of peace. Peace is mine as I still myself in spiritual silence. Silence is my sanctuary, retreating from habitual thought and action for the refreshment of silence. I am immersed in peace. I am peace. Peace calms my nerves, harmonizes my feelings, and opens my mind. I am peace in this moment of silence. The light of divine wisdom guides my every step. Any question on my mind, any concern in my heart, I now direct to divine wisdom. I trust my gut, for wisdom arises as an intelligent signal I recognize as an answer and as a sense of direction. God is wisdom. Therefore, I am wisdom, making wise decisions. Wisdom is my guide as I pray. Every thought of God life strengthens and heals me. Present in my body temple, I focus on the truth of divine life. I choose thoughts aligned with life, vitality, vigor, flow, health, and wholeness. Every thought of truth strengthens my body's systems and functions. Every thought of truth blesses and heals. I am one with divine life in the silence of this moment. I live expectantly, gratefully, abundantly. I am present and fully aware of a bounty of blessings in my life. As I focus on all that is good and right, I exude gratitude. To any thought of lack I might have, I say, be present, be grateful. I am an overflowing well of gratitude in prayer. my thoughts, words, and actions contribute to a peaceful world. Focused on the great truth of oneness, I think of all people as my sisters and brothers. My thoughts, words, and actions encourage and uplift others. I contribute my conviction of one God, one humanity, and one world in silent awe. As we conclude this session of prayer and return to the day's activities, we choose to sustain our awareness of truth. We will to remain present, focused, and intentional as we brighten the world with the light of God expressing as peace, life, love, and wisdom. Let us recite together the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is.
And from this place of complete awareness of the presence of God within us, we bring to mind anyone who may need and be in need of prayer. Those on our unity prayer list, those on silent unity, and we extend this prayer to all those in need in the wider circle of the world. We affirm that there's a power and a presence within each individual that will see them through anything that they are experiencing, any difficulty that they may be encountering physically, emotionally, spiritually, or mentally. This divine presence is ever available, guiding and directing, helping them move through this difficult time. We are so grateful for this awareness, so grateful for our identification with the truth of who we really are, that we go forth in the world living a practical human life while extending and living from our spiritual self, our true self, our Christ self. We are so grateful for this awareness. And now I invite you to bring your consciousness back into your body, back into the room where you are. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Now, this is the time in our service where we have the opportunity to, where we have the opportunity to give. So I invite you to take your gifts and hold them in your hand. And just feel that love, that awareness of the presence of an abundance within you. Feel that rising up and moving through that energy, moving through you into these gifts. And whether we use check or PayPal or the donate button on the Unity website, we're just so grateful for the awareness that abundance is ours and that giving and receiving are the same. We allow ourselves to open up to all that good that is ours. And we know abundance is ours in every area of our life. We're so grateful for this awareness, so grateful for the awareness that God is our source and God consciousness is our supply. So I invite you in this energy of love and sharing to bless these gifts with me, and together with your mics muted, divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I choose to give and all that I am open to receive, and I am grateful. Amen.
Amen. And for our closing song, I found a song